the African American ministers, they were talking about not only the fact that Black lives matter, but Black prosperity matters, Black uplift matters. The cause is right, and the time is now. Senator Sanders stood up when he didn't have to stand up as a young man. The way to define the character of a person is what they do when the cameras are not on, what they do when they don't benefit from it personally. He is a champion for civil rights and social justice in this country. The time is right and the cause is now. Senator Sanders understands that we as a country, Black, white, Asian, Native American, young, seasoned, Muslim, Christian, Jew, Gentile, atheist, all of us together. All of us together. All of us together. And when he talks about running for president of the United States of America, you don't hear him say the word I. He says we. This race is about us. We, the people, and we need a champion like Senator Bernie Sanders. And to my sisters in the audience, it's been a long time coming, but we deserve our whole damn dollar. Say whole damn dollar. And Senator Bernie Sanders understands that women deserve their whole dollar to support themselves and their family. The cause is right. The time is now. And it is Black History Month, sisters and brothers, if I may. Because from Martin Luther King Day through the month of February, we got carte blanche in this nation to talk about the plight of African Americans. Senator Sanders is not new to this. He has been fighting for a very long time, but he has the most comprehensive racial justice platform to deal with the 5 types of violences perpetrated against Black and brown folks in this country: political, physical, economic, environmental, and legal. We are all better together. We must stand up and be champions and fight against institutional racism. The cause is right, and the time is now. So for us, if we can build a nation, we can have universal health care. If we can abolish slavery, we can have universal health care. If women can get the right to vote, we can have universal health care. If a man can go to the moon, we can have universal health care. We are a country of progress, not regress, and we need to check the type of leaders that we elect to office who want to move us from yes we can to no we can't. But we are not going. The cause is right, and the time is now. So in the words of Congresswoman Barbara Jordan when she said what the people want, it's simple. They want an America as good as its promise. That is why Senator Bernie Sanders is running, because he wants to help us create an America that is as good as its promise. The cause is right. And the time is now. So sisters and brothers, our mission is so high, we can't get over it. And it is so low, we can't get under it. And it is so wide, we cannot get around it. United, we stand. Divided, we fall. And Senator Sanders is working to unify this nation so that everybody, no matter who their parents are or are not, can enjoy the American dream, the fruits of their labor. People who work 40 hours a week should not still live in poverty. The cause is right. The cause is right. The cause is right. And the time is now. This is about we. You know, I had the opportunity to have a conversation with Killer Mike. Y'all know who Killer Mike is. And I said to Killer Mike, you know, they keep calling our candidate a one-issue candidate. And Killer Mike said the following. He said he is a one-issue candidate, and his issue is the citizens of the United States of America. Hello. Hello, somebody. I'll take a one issue. You are the issue. The people of the United States of America.
All right. Good morning, everybody. That was that was a sudden end. That was on a Facebook clip that Nina Turner. I love Nina Turner. She's such a badass. Here's what's going on. So I thought we were going to run the newsroom at 9, like normal, and I had a lot of good stuff to talk about South Carolina today. Then I find out there's this broadcast. There's two local feeds, Fox News and another local feed, KEYE TV. Now, both of these guys are supposed to be bringing us the Austin rally, and I thought, that'd be great. Let's do that instead of the newsroom. We always want to have Bernie first. But now I'm hearing this. So this is another station that's doing it, KXAN. It says the rally has been delayed, and this is from Robin Morris. It says the rally has been delayed due to large turnout. So they've rescheduled to noon. I don't know how that's supposed to work with Senator Sanders' traveling schedule, because he has to be at another event tonight that we were going to broadcast. And I think that one's in Minnesota, but I'm not sure. It could be in Oklahoma, because this guy's all over the frickin' place. But we were going to do that one as well. So here's what we're going to do. And Ryan Lavacek says they're expecting 13,000 people at the Austin rally. Okay. This is all part of how Bernie Sanders is sweeping the nation. We have made it happen. Don't listen to anything establishment media says. We're going to win this thing. But we'll talk about that in the newsroom. Wait, I'm waiting. What is Fox News doing? So just so you know, I'm looking at the feeds, and I did drop both the feeds in chat. And what are you guys having to say? Yeah, morning. Yeah, they're trying to get 20,000 burners to get. Yeah, it's huge. Things. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So here's what we're gonna do. Because this is the Austin rally that starts at the wrong time event on YouTube. So we're gonna stop this. We're gonna start the newsroom in just give me 2 minutes. We'll start the newsroom up. And you just listened to Nina Turner, and that was the intro to the newsroom. I just figured I'd run it for the rally. We'll just start in the newsroom, start talking about what's going on today. And as soon as anything happens with the rally stuff, I'll create a new Austin rally event, and we'll just if it's happening right in the middle of the newsroom, we'll stop the newsroom and go live over there. If we get through an hour of the newsroom, we'll stop, and then I'll join you at the Austin rally. But it looks like we'll have the Austin rally, and yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Sorry, I'm looking at other notes in here. So yeah. Both Fox News has shown us a lovely view of the Chicago. Where is it? I don't know where. Somebody's skyline. Somebody's skyline. And the other guys are giving me color bars. So anyway, that's what's going on. Huge rally today, because we know that the turnout is massive, and we are seeing. I've got a video from Facebook that I pushed out late last night. That a gentleman who has been doing canvassing in South Carolina has some truth to tell us about what he's seeing. And it's good. It's good for Bernie. So we're going to end this. Join me in the newsroom event. I'll see you over there in 3 minutes. I just got to change some things out and grab a cup of tea. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
let me take a moment to tell you what motivates me, and let me tell you that I am motivated by a vision which exists in all of the great religions, in Christianity and Judaism, in Islam and Buddhism, and other religions. And it states, "So in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you."
You were in the front lines of trying to desegregate school housing at the University of Chicago. You were even arrested. What was it that motivated a 20-year-old white kid from Brooklyn to do that?
As far back as I can remember, injustice is something that I have always fought throughout my life.
Really, what we do understand is there is a growing underclass in the United States of America. People who don't feel part of society. They are down below. They have no place to go. What I believe is that this country has the wealth to guarantee free education through college to every child in this country. And we have the capability of providing a national health care system. If you give people hope, if you address housing problems, economic problems, educational problems, you're going to go a long way to cutting the drug problem, and you're going to make this a far more civilized society.
And Mr. Speaker, I've got a problem. I've got a problem with a president and a Congress which allows 5 million children to go hungry, 2 million people to sleep out on the streets, and they say, we're getting tough on crime. If you want to get tough on crime, let's deal with the causes of crime. Let's demand that every man, woman, and child in this country have a decent opportunity and a decent standard of living. Let's not keep putting poor people into jail and disproportionately punishing blacks.
You said something about homos in the military. Was the gentleman referring to the many thousands and thousands of gay people who have put their lives on the line in countless wars defending this country?
Regarding global warming, we have a moral responsibility for our children and grandchildren so that 30 years from now, they do not look us in the eye and they say, hey, all the scientists told you what was going on. Why didn't you do something?
What we are dealing with is a ruling class in this country who in many ways act like alcoholics and drug addicts. They cannot get enough, no matter how many children live in poverty, no matter how high the unemployment numbers are. They want more and more and more. And I say, enough is enough.
But let justice roll on like a river, righteousness like a never-failing stream. Justice, treating others the way we want to be treated, treating all people, no matter their race, their color, their stature in life, with respect and with dignity.
I think we need to get on to like Bernie Sanders. I believe Bernie Sanders is a protester. He's not scared. And that's why I'm for Bernie.
Morning, everybody. It is February 27th, and it's already been an interesting day. I thought I was going to have live from Austin this morning from a couple local stations, and it turns out that there are so many people, thousands and thousands of people lining up to see Bernie Sanders in Austin this morning that they had to postpone the event. I've heard one statement from Ryan Glavacek saying there was more than 13,000 people expected. This is what happens when you have a populist movement by a person we have our next FDR. This is Bernie Sanders has created a movement of the people. We've had enough. We're tired of being ruled by the establishment, and it's a reckoning. It's a reckoning for our government, a reckoning for the corrupt entities that now run our country and have run it and us into the ground. And so very excited today. Basically, this is kind of totally thrown me off track with the newsroom. 104 people plus watching so far. Thank you guys for joining us. If any of you were expecting to turn in to see Bernie right now, just know that we'll be bringing Bernie later. We're waiting for one of those actual feeds to start, and as soon as that happens, I'll end the newsroom and I'll start up a new feed for the Austin event. I don't want to have these events, crushed together like this. So we will go to that. Why did they postpone it, class ceiling? They postponed it because apparently they just couldn't get the people in. There was an article I pushed out earlier, and I'll see if I can't find it. It was dropped. See if I can't find it. It was dropped in Slack earlier, and it just is the ridiculous number of people that are waiting in line. Apparently, it shows a massive line. I don't think any of these locations were expecting this. I don't think, because here's what happens: the establishment media isn't telling people about this. They don't show the crowds. When you guys watch an event and we have Scott Galindez bringing us the feed, or Biff Ward bringing us a feed, right? Or one of our volunteers with a phone bringing us a feed, they're panning and showing you the massive crowds. They're showing you the truth. You don't see that on establishment media. They just keep that close in on Bernie. They're not going to show you how many thousands of people, right? Just to bring up an interesting point, yesterday in South Carolina, and we are going to talk a lot about South Carolina today. We're going to run a video from a gentleman who was canvassing in South Carolina over the last, I don't know how many days, weeks, and he's got some really good news to tell us about what he experienced there and the overwhelming amount of Bernie support, because establishment media knows that this 20-point diff that they're claiming, or this 20, 30-point difference that Hillary has with Bernie in terms of South Carolina, they know that's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. And with what just happened recently with Hillary Clinton and the Black Lives Matter protester, and the way she wholly disrespected that woman, I'm sorry, but Hillary Clinton was an absolute bitch. And the words that came out of her mouth after that, now back to the issues. You know, the issue was standing right in front of you, establishment woman. The issue was standing in front of you, the people of the United States, asking you what the fuck. And you couldn't answer the question. You again had poor judgment, couldn't answer the question. Anyway, I'm going over all sorts of things. We're going to talk about South Carolina. We're going to talk about what's going on there. But today, Austin rally, when it happens, we're going to cut to it. And we'll just go there, have fun. Lots of cool stuff. We're gonna try to run a video from Democracy Now! I think I've used their stuff before, and hopefully it won't slam us. Amy Goodman, by the way, hi Democracy Now! My name is John Ellis, and I'm really slow to learning how all of these great independent news networks that have been on the web are. And I just want to say, guys do great stuff. Lee Fong, I watched a video with you and him. We're going to run that clip today, talking about showing direct connection between the establishment media. I mean, it's the complete collapse of integrity in journalism. There is no integrity in journalism. When you have the kind of power you have as a journalist, to get in your, to sit in your establishment journalist anchor news chair and lie. You're not telling the news when you get up there and do that. When you are working for the Hillary campaign or an aspect thereof, when it's obvious that your ties are with the campaign, you cannot, as a journalist, get up there and say that you are speaking unbiased. That say that you are offering. We're going to watch the video. It's ridiculous. The bigger point though to that is, what difference does it make? None of these journalists, they don't care. We were talking about Rachel Maddow the other day. Does she care? I don't think she cares. Rumor has it Will Ferrell is flip-flopping around. I don't know what the hell Will Ferrell is doing. He's trying to ride the fence. We know Morgan Freeman cared more about his paycheck than he cares about the people. I really say it comes down to paychecks versus planet. Your profit, people who are interested in their profit, their personal gain, like Morgan Freeman, who's stooging for Hillary now, and any journalist right now, Chris Matthews, Jesus, Chris Matthews, how far is your head up the establishment's ass? You know, this is we have people like Amy Goodman, we have people like Cenk Uygur, we have I don't even know all their names, but these guys have been out there, and of course BTV, volunteers of BTV, going out there and telling the truth. And we need to look, democracy. Look, when I go to Democracy Now! I'm looking at something, I give $10. I've been giving money to these places because we use their articles, and I don't know what else to do besides that. So I give them $10, $5, $20, whatever I can when I can, right? To all these independent media sources, and I suggest you guys do the same to keep them operating, because there's going to be a shift in media. Establishment media is going to get taken down. It's no longer relevant. It's no longer it's not a conversation. We want a conversation like we have here. D. Jensen, John is on. Yeah, I know. I'm going and going. Amy Goodman goes out there and gets herself arrested. I saw that. We have a clip, a longer clip that I listed about Flint. And she does a report on Nestle and how Nestle. Oh, one of those corporations. Yeah, Morgan Freeman is a big disappointment. Can somebody please tell me Jay Wick, I was reading that, yes. How many bad responses, misjudgments, controversies does Hillary have to be responsible for before black voters see her for the crony she is? I don't know. That's a great question. I'm just checking on the feeds. Fox San Antonio. Fox 29 San Antonio is one of the people bringing us a feed, and it's still showing in the skyline here. What else? That's a great question. Yes, Paul. Citizen journalism, 7 billion strong. That's awesome. I didn't realize that number. Yes, we will be doing South Carolina numbers. I will be doing something, folks. As soon as we figure out what's going on with the Austin event, which I'm expecting to have to go on live with at some point here soon. As soon as that happens, basically I'll know what I can do for the rest of the day, and maybe we'll just keep going. Maybe I'll create a rally or something, or a streamathon, and we'll come on and we'll go through the South Carolina numbers. I want South Carolina to know that we are with you, because this is a state-by-state thing. So here, Bernie 2060 TV, we're going to be talking about South Carolina today. It's about South Carolina today. Every state counts. Every state matters. Every vote matters. So please, you want to end oppression in the South? Something that should have been done 200 years ago? You want to end oppression in the United States for everybody, but in particular minorities? Then help us put Bernie Sanders in office. We are all here together for you. Hillary has the establishment for you, and we've seen what the establishment has done for you in the 90s. We've seen what the establishment does for you. We see what Hillary thinks of you at $500 plate dinners, where she basically tells Black Lives Matter protester to fuck off. We need to get back to the issues. Please, South Carolina, this is my plea as a privileged white man in Oregon. Please help me elect Bernie Sanders, because I promise you that we will do everything we can to make your lives better. That's my promise. I won't do it with Hillary. Because Hillary won't do it for you either. Hillary doesn't give a shit about you. She doesn't give a shit about any of us. We're going to look at some articles, some documents to talk about that. Okay, so I'm reading Smokey John. SC is only one state. We're gonna talk about that. It's only one state, but it matters, and we're actually gonna do way better. Maybe this is a good time to play this video. Maybe we need to play this video. Get everybody thinking differently about South Carolina. South Carolina votes really matter. They're going to be huge. And if Tim Black is out there in the audience, come on into the hangout. We were supposed to test, but come in. I wanted Tim Black to come in. Maybe we'll have him on later for a streamathon to talk about stuff. But he had some great things to say, and we were talking about getting him in here. And also there've been a couple links pushed out to us. Christian with a K, thank you for grabbing this link to Fox San Antonio. But let's listen to this guy. This is Danny Fitro, and he says I said states, but he meant cities in his report. This is a report from South Carolina for the official Bernie Sanders campaign. So he's been canvassing for them, and just listen to what he has to say, because you're going to be surprised. This is why we want to encourage Blast the Web with just hashtag South Carolina, just to let them know that we show support. And let's get out there today. I know Bernie's in Texas. He's focused on Texas right now. They had to get him out there because of what's going on with Super Tuesday and that massive flux. But understand, I just before I run this, I want you to understand something. Yesterday, Orangeburg. Did you notice that Orangeburg trended yesterday in Twitter? Killer Mike trended yesterday in Twitter. And when Orangeburg was trending, they were talking about Bernie's small rally. And they showed a picture of this small rally. For Bernie, it was a small rally, right? It had a couple hundred people there, and it was in a gym, and so it didn't look very full. And but it was great. We recorded it. We broadcast it. I think that was may have been the one on C-SPAN. I'm not sure. Anyway, we had it. We had a feed of it. Beautiful speech, wonderful crowd, right? And everybody was pushing out, oh, Bernie's, look at how the small turnout for Bernie Sanders. I'm like, yeah, look at the small turnout at Hillary's. So Hillary had a thing going on in South Carolina too, also small. And I posted a link to that because there were people asking her, calling her out for the Black Lives Matter incident, right? And I said, there at least, here's Bernie's small rally, here's Hillary's small rally in a town of like 20,000 people. So it really doesn't matter, folks. It was a very small town anyway. And the difference, here's what I was thinking. This whole time I was thinking, that I'm sure Bernie has lots of small rallies in lots of places. We just don't see them, right? And even so, that's like the first time. That's the first time we've ever seen, or it's like Bernie had a Hillary-sized rally, right? That's what Hillary gets everywhere she goes. All right, so I'm getting, I just want you guys to know that I'm now getting audio from whatever this is going on in Austin. It's, give me 1 second here. It's Elton John. It's a very nice, clean shot from Fox San Antonio. I'll show you that right now. Obviously, I'm not going to. There you go. So they're getting ready to go over there. I don't know when. I've heard somebody said 35 minutes. That was about 10 minutes ago. So maybe we're going live here at 10 o'clock my time. And we're already at 9:40. So I really haven't covered a lot of news with you folks. I apologize for that, but we've kind of been bouncing around. We watched that Nina Turner thing. Let's watch this. Let's watch this guy. This is about 10 minutes long, but I really want you to hear it because he talks about the different counties, different places he goes to. He talks about what he sees in terms of numbers. Be encouraged by this and encourage South Carolina. We're with you. This is all of us together, South Carolina. We're with you. So check out what this guy has to say. Is Danny Fitro with the campaign talking about stats in South Carolina.
Hey everybody, I'm making this video from my home, and I wanted to let you know that I went to South Carolina, and I worked with the official Bernie campaign in Charleston, South Carolina. The thing about Charleston, South Carolina is of the top 5 most populous states in South Carolina, number 1 is Columbia, and I did not go there. Number 2 is Charleston, and then the order 3 and 4, Mount Pleasant and North Charleston. North Charleston is not an area of Charleston, it's its own city, North Charleston. They're all there on the Delta and the river going up. So I went up there and canvassed, and I was shocked because I went to Iowa. All this is through Rev Starts With Us. You can check it out at RevStartsWithUs, Tumblr.com, or whatever, Tumblr. So a lot of us that went to Iowa also went to South Carolina. And in Iowa, we were greeted really well. We rose from 60 points down to a virtual tie. In South Carolina, I was kind of getting myself ready for a battle. I was thinking, I'm going to be going and getting doors slammed in my face. I'm going to have people tell me I'm already Hillary. I don't need to hear anymore and stuff like that. Thing is, it's an open primary. in South Carolina, so we talked to independents, we talked to Democrats, and we seem to get a lot of Republicans on our list too. Maybe independents that behaved as Republicans, or maybe they changed and we had an old list. I don't know. But the thing is, it was nothing like I expected. I went to, I'll give you my numbers here. I've got them right here. I kept the statistics because it was shocking. It was literally shocking. In Mount Pleasant, I was canvassing $500,000 homes, $500,000 homes. And we got a lot of Republicans, but we got a lot of people that said Bernie for the people that we got home. You know, you get some not homes, you get some Republicans, and out of, let's see, 35 respondents, 29 were pro-Bernie, and 6 were pro-Hillary. It is just shocking, not what I expected. It was similar to what we were getting in Iowa. And that was, like I said, upper class, upper middle class, $500,000 homes. And then the next day, I did Charleston. And when I did Charleston, I just didn't even canvass homes. I canvassed downtown. I specifically chose African Americans because that's where I heard, according to the media, that Bernie has a weakness and he doesn't connect with the African American voters. So I just went up to only African American voters to get as many people as possible for the time that I was there. And I canvassed 38 African American voters, and they were all registered voters. I checked with them. Do you vote? Are you registered? And it was 38-0, Bernie. Most of the people were probably 35 or under. A couple people were maybe in their 40s, one maybe close to 50, but 38-0, Bernie in Charleston, downtown. So the next day I canvassed North Charleston. And when I canvassed North Charleston, that was working class. It was a mix of black and white, modest homes, neighborhood. And what we got was 21 Bernie supporters and 6 Hillary supporters. Now, if you imagine, if everybody voted at that rate, Bernie would win, 38-0, 21-6, 29-6. It would be phenomenal. It'd be like, 85 to 15% or something like that. So I began to wonder, is this just me? Is this like an oddity? Is it an anomaly? Is it just, am I the only one getting these statistics? So I started asking other people that were canvassing. We were all in that area, and they were all getting similar numbers. Some that were canvassing in older African-American neighborhoods were getting more Hillary support than I was, like way more, but still not more than Bernie support. So then I contacted my friend Dan Keyes. He went to Iowa with the group, and he was not in Mount Charleston. He was not in Charleston. He was not in North Charleston. He was in Greenville, South Carolina. It's just south of North Carolina and just in from Georgia. It's also one of the top 10 largest cities in South Carolina. And he said he wasn't getting as much Bernie support as me, but still getting more Bernie support than Hillary support where he was. And then I contacted my Facebook friend, Dave too. And David is in Columbia, the largest city in South Carolina. He's there as we speak. He's there as I make this video. And today is Friday, the day before the election. And he told me in Columbia, he is getting responses of 24 Bernie supporters to 2 Hillary supporters in Columbia. And he says that just counts the people on his list, which are, voters, they are likely primary voters. They have a record of voting Democratic. He has 12 more people that were not on the list that he came across that are saying that they're planning on voting tomorrow, and all 12 of them are Bernie supporters. So, it's just shocking, and nobody's telling you this, and, I'm watching MSNBC, I'm watching CNN, and, people are reporting from Charleston. When I was there in Charleston, Morning Joe reported from there. So people are on the ground, but just like, are they not talking to people? Are they not talking to actual people? Are they just going with polls? Or are they talking to people and they just don't care? the thing is, I don't care what the polls say. I was on the ground in South Carolina. I was talking to people. I was going to their homes. And I know Bernie way outnumbers the support of any Republican, any Hillary there. But are they going to vote? According to likely Democratic voters, Hillary's way ahead. That's what the polling numbers said, all the companies. And, it may be that way because sadly maybe they don't vote. Maybe they won't vote. But it sounds like they're going to vote. We could be in for a shock. I mean, I don't want to make a bad prediction, but if all those people that I talk to vote, that's what's going to happen. If all those people that Dan Keyes talked to vote, that's what's going to happen. If all those people that David Tu talked to vote, that's what's going to happen. So, New Hampshire, we won by a lot. In Iowa, we came back from 60 down. And I think if the Iowa election was even later, I think we'd just be pulling more ahead. Bernie is past Hillary in many national polls. So what has to happen is people just have to vote. And if anybody saw the town hall with, or it wasn't really a town hall, it was from Chicago with Chris Matthews, Bernie pointed out something very, very important. And Chris Matthews was like, how are you going to get this passed? And a lot of people say, how's Bernie going to get any of this stuff passed? It's too far out. Here's how you get it passed. All the people vote for Bernie because they believe that we matter. They believe we have a democracy. They believe that together, when we stand up and we say enough is enough, that Bernie will win. Well, what happens is you don't have to convince the Republicans to pass what Bernie wants to pass. You don't have to convince the yellow dog Democrats to pass what Bernie wants to pass. You don't have to convince the corporate Democrats to pass what Bernie wants to pass. You just have to tell your congressman that you support Bernie and you want them to vote with Bernie. And if they don't get your vote. So it doesn't matter how much money they get. It doesn't matter who is supporting them, who's donating them, or what super PACs they have. It doesn't matter because we stay involved and we vote them out. And actually, we can vote a lot of them out when we vote Bernie in. Let's give Bernie the Congress he needs, and then we'll put everyone else on notice. We can do this. And maybe South Carolina, unlike Nevada, which was that was a mess. It was a caucus. It was at noon. It was on a Saturday. A lot of people couldn't get time off to go. And if you check YouTube and look at all the stuff that happened, a lot of unregistered voters voted in the Nevada caucus for Hillary. It seemed to be like people were just getting shuffled into these rooms just to be counted for Hillary, and then they registered after the election. That's on video. It's not a conspiracy. It was a mess. It was a mess there. So, this is different. This is a primary, and it's open, and the independents will be voting. And this could be a big surprise. If everybody shows up to vote who wants Bernie, this will shock the world. And if not, well, we're going to get status quo results. And I hope we don't get that. So it's up to us, America. Go Bernie. Go South Carolina. Go vote.
Well, so if that doesn't inspire you, if that doesn't make you feel a little bit better about what's going on, and the fact that mainstream media is lying, right? They're lying. Boots on the ground, people talking to people, they know the truth. With me, joining us is Tim Black. Hey, Tim, how you doing, man?
Hey, John, how you doing, man? Good to see you, my brother.
Oh, my gosh, you sound great. Woo, see, there's no test needed. There's no test needed. Everybody, Tim Black is here. We haven't even done a test in the production room yet. Tim was like, hey, and said, let's bring him in. Tim, welcome to the production environment. If you look in the bottom of the Hangout, you'll see one of the screens that has us in it, and that's a like what I'm doing, preview and then live, just for helpful information. Okay. Thank you for joining us. Wow.
Hey, man, how you doing, man, John? Man, this is great, man. I'm glad we were able to get our schedules to kind of line up, man, and be able, because today is so important, man. It's just, I shot a video earlier, John, as a morale boost for all of the Facebook supporters, all of the volunteers, all of the people out on the ground, just, just a word of encouragement for folks, man, because it's a lot, man. People are really stressing out right now. They're pumped, but they're stressed.
They are.
You know how it is. You know how it is.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you did that. If you could drop that link into live production Slack for us, or get it to one of the other people, that would be fantastic. And then we'll get it to these guys. We've got more than 260 people viewing us right now live, and trying to figure out what the hell we're doing. And this is an unusual version of the newsroom because I don't know if you've been listening to what's going on, but we've got a live feed coming from Fox San Antonio here, and we had a live feed. Here's the deal. It looks like they were going to. We've got South Carolina happening today, but Bernie's moved on to Texas. Hillary's moved on. I think she's in Texas too. I'm not sure where she's at a plate dinner somewhere, I'm sure. But 13,000 people. 13,000 people in Austin. There's a line. Apparently the lines are so long they had to postpone the event. That's what's going on here.
Man, that's so amazing, man. John, I'm telling you, I think everything is being underreported for a reason, John. What you just played, that clip you just played for Boots on the Ground, I think it's being underreported for a reason to keep morale down, to try to keep us suppressed. They say, if we tell folks that black folks are voting for Bernie, then they'll believe it, and maybe they'll vote Hillary, or maybe it'll disillusion some white voters, some Latino voters. Because it's like a psychological game. It's like psychological warfare, John. I think that's what's going on, but it's not working because we're pumped up, man.
Oh yeah. It's not working. We have some video today for the newsroom. It depends on how long we go here. You're familiar with Amy Goodman, Democracy Now?
Yes, I am. Yeah, she's very inspirational. I love her.
Absolutely. I'm still learning. Just finding out about you and Amy and Cenk Uygur and all the people that have been doing independent media for a long time. I'm new to this, right? I jumped in with Bernie. You guys have been doing this for a living. You've been doing this for a while. So thank you. I appreciate it. But Amy Goodman did a piece with Lee Fong yesterday, the day before, and it just blow the doors open on the connection between establishment media and people that claim to be pundits talking about politics and what's going on in some kind of I want to say unbiased, but we know that's not possible on establishment media, but in some kind of a way that you would think they're offering advice without being attached to a candidate, but then they expose the truth. Here you are, you actually work for this candidate, just like we saw with Jonathan Capehart, right? Oh, right. You're sleeping with a dude working for the candidate. That's why this came out. It's just the corruption is ridiculous. Yeah, go ahead, please.
No, I was just going to say, you're absolutely right, John. It's sad, actually, at least with what I do, and I'm sure what you do, obviously, Bernie 2016, we let people know at the gate, look, we support this candidate. We are here. This is what our beliefs are. If that's a problem, then hey, this is not what I want to watch. But these guys, like you say, it's the rules. They say that they're impartial, but then they're very partial, as you can see. And that's just, people are tired of it, Jay. That's why you and I are going to be successful. We just got to hang in there long enough, man. The more people know about what you're doing, John, the better you're going to do, man. No doubt.
I appreciate that. Let's take a chill for a second because I'm getting all excited, and I would like you to address an article that I pulled up. I didn't know I was going to have you in here to talk about it. I wasn't sure what to say about it. But real quick, for BTV folks, I think we've got some people doing comment mod, which is good. I didn't know we were going to have anybody. So this channel is about the conversation, everyone, and you know that. It looks like I've got some comment moderators working them, so I'm going to start dropping those underneath. Thank you, everybody, for that. This is about conversation, folks. The more conversation we have, the more we learn, the more we engage, and the more activity we create on the internet, which is how we help boost Bernie Sanders and the message of Bernie Sanders to get it into the minds and the ears of those folks who don't always look to the internet for information or for truth. And that's been a big problem with this race. That's why folks like Tim and Democracy Now! and Bernie 2016 TV, why we're so important. Independent media right now, we are the new muckrakers. This has happened before. And it is our job to rise above the lies of establishment media and preach the truth
And we must bring the truth, forcibly bring the truth in front of the faces, in front of the eyes of those who are still connected to establishment media. We don't want to do it in a mean way. We want to do it in a way that opens their eyes to reality. So I just wanted to get that in. We're going to look at this article here, Tim, and what it is an article that says, I hate the way this is titled. It's for black women in South Carolina, it's Clinton's turn. So it's already an interestingly biased article by the New York Times, and you know what this shows here, and people are gonna look at that. But a couple things in this, I just want to read them to you, and then you and I'll come back on it, and you can talk about it. There's one woman. They give two women's perspectives. The first woman, these are African American ladies, and I'm trying to find it right here, folks. I'm scrolling all around. The first woman makes this statement where she says, I want to see a womb. Here it is. Here's the quote they're using on this. This is a quote. I want someone with a womb in the White House at least one time before I die, Mrs. DeBoss said. All right. Now, I have no problem with that. I can understand the sentiment, but I think, we can address that in a different way. But here at the bottom of the article, even though the article is titled African Americans in South Carolina, it's time for Clinton or whatever the hell it is, very biased. The bottom of the article talks about a Mrs. Lemons. Okay, and Mrs. Lemons is saying, I've seen so many presidents come and go, and the situation never seems to get better. But Bernie says, I know what your struggle is. And Mrs. Clinton's promise to continue the Obama administration's policies is not enough. Despite the Affordable Care Act, she does not have enough health insurance because South Carolina rejected the expansion of Medicaid. So she's holding on to Mr. Sanders' goal of universal health care. Now, what I want to bring this around to, Tim, is what would you say to the lady who's basically saying, I want to see a womb in the White House before I die? I can understand it, but really, let's pick the right womb. I guess.
Exactly. I mean, when I tell people, man, and it's a very common thing, when people have objections, when they're saying, I understand it. I don't even try to talk someone out of that belief system. I'm like, hey, I get it. I understand what you want. It's a natural thing. You want to see a reflection of yourself. You think this will be a great step for women. And frankly, I'm with you on that. But the thing is, we got to choose the right one. When before Obama got in the office, I wanted a black president, but I didn't want Flavor Flav. I didn't want Lil Wayne. I had criteria. So let's look at who they are and what they bring to the table and how and what their histories say, because the best indicator of future actions are past actions. So what has she done in the past? We got to look at that. If you get the wrong woman in, she may damage the brand so badly, to the point where it may never happen again for future generations. So you got to be careful what you're choosing here. That's what I say.
That's actually a really good point. I don't know if you watch the show Scandal, which is, even though it's ridiculous entertainment television, right?
Sometimes I have watched it in the past, not lately. What's up with that?
Okay, so it's interesting that you said what you just said. That if you put the womb in the office just to do so. And I think it's interesting we're using womb as that she used womb as opposed to vagina. Either way, I think it's a little more respectful. We'll call it that. It still comes down. Doesn't it still come down to saying I want a woman in office just simply because she's a woman, right? Doesn't it really just come down to that? I mean,
it does. Yeah, that's what she means. Yeah.
There's no right. No look at judgment. No look at past. Which, oh my God, I can't even. I've said this many times to you. I've said this many times online. I'm not a black person. I don't understand how any black person can look at the '90s and look at Hillary Clinton and be okay. That's just.
Well, you know what it is? Here's the thing, man. The Clintons have always been experts at the game of perception. They give the perception to black folks that they like black folks. And due to the history that's in America, reflecting race relations, racial tensions, racial injustice, discrimination that very well documented, the thing is this: when black folks see white folks that are accepting or appear to be accepting, that admire us, there is no better. They say the best. What is it? The best form of admiration is imitation. Imitation is the best form of flattery. Well, when Clinton was playing his saxophone and hanging out with Arsenio and Magic Johnson and Bill Cosby. He seemed to really like black people, and some people just can't get out of their mind that this guy liked us.
Right.
If he likes us, they transfer that emotion and say, if he likes us, obviously he's going to look out for us. Obviously, he's going to do this, he's going to do that, and that's just a psychological damage. That's from history. And the thing is, John, one last point, man. I think the only way you combat that is with information. Low information voters go strictly on emotion because they don't know anything else. And almost you gotta just give a little bit of information, like, hey, but they cut off welfare reform, and guess what? That didn't help us. That sent a lot of black people like you and I into poverty. They're like, what? I didn't know that. Yeah, that's what happened. You may not have known about it and talk about it. So that's what I do. I give little pieces, then I walk away, then I come back and give a little bit more information. That's the only solution, John.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Right now we have more than 330 people watching us right now. I just wanted to let you know that we've got a
I need to tweet it out, man. That's great. I need to tweet it out, man. I just popped in.
I'm so glad.
Facebook, man.
I'm so glad you're here, and I was listening to what you say, and I'm reading comments from Eddie, who's trying to let me know what's going on. Just so everybody knows, we don't have a feed yet. I know it's after 10 o'clock, and I know I thought we were going to go live in 20 minutes. And this is why we're not creating I try not to create the streams until I actually know that the event, that they're happening. So many times we think we got a local feed and it disappears, or it turns out to be a national feed that we can't carry. A lot of times technology just doesn't work. The other day we had one of our volunteers show up somewhere and we thought we were going to get a feed from them, and they drove a long time and they worked really hard, and then the Wi-Fi was locked down to everybody. So, I mean, this is what we face in a war, and we really are at war. I don't want anybody to mistake what's going on right now for an election. I'm 46 years old. Tim's probably around my age, if not, I don't know.
I'm 41, man.
Okay, you're 41. So you and I both, Tim, have lived long enough to see enough elections. And I don't know, I'm just going to say this. I have never in my life heard a politician use the words establishment. I've never heard a politician call them out, call people corrupt, call the government corrupt, call out specific entities, corporations for being corrupt. I mean, this is wouldn't you call it vastly radical at this point in time?
Vastly radical. It's so radical. Initially, when I first heard Bernie Sanders, I said, my God, I hope this man, his safety is not going to be in danger. I mean, we talked about fear of Obama being hurt while in office. Bernie Sanders is the guy I really think about, because he's the only one who's actually talking about changing status quo.
Yeah.
Obama just wanted to make you feel good. He wanted to be a representation of how far we've gone racially. But no, Bernie Sanders actually wants to break down some institutional barriers for all people. That's revolution. That's not, hey, we like a seat at the table. Let's change the table. Let's get us let's get some TV stands in here. Let's get some marble. Let's rip the floors out. Let's knock the beams out the walls. Let's open up the floor plan. I mean, he's talking about a total revitalization of how we do politics in America. And believe me, Hillary and her ilk will not go quietly. They're gonna fight. So, hey, be prepared for a fight, guys. Some people, they think it's going to be easy. They get down, John, and they're not realizing, man, people don't want to let go of their money. People don't want to give up their money, their privilege, their position, what they've been doing for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Think about it.
It's really sad. It's really been I keep using the word online that there's going to be a reckoning with everybody that chooses their paycheck, the establishment, which really just means paycheck. It really all it comes down to. If you're choosing the establishment, it's because you like the way things are for yourself, and you're thinking about yourself more than other people. And I got to call out some people that I had a lot of respect for, like Morgan Freeman. Dude, I grew up with you, and a lot of respect for you. You taught me so many things as a kid and as an adult, and then you're shilling for Hillary. I don't get it. I don't get it. You know, there's other people, and I made this statement months ago, Tim, and we're starting to see it happen. We're starting to see it happen. I said, Hollywood is going to have to choose between their paychecks and, you know, Bernie Sanders. You can't get up there as a Hollywood celebrity and go Bernie Sanders and then keep taking a paycheck from the corporations that are trying to stop him from getting in office. What do you do?
There you go. I mean, he's not the only one. I mean, when you brought up Morgan Freeman, I was thinking Will Ferrell. I watched Will Ferrell just yesterday on a clip. He was with Seth Meyers, and he was so funny. And then I stopped laughing and said, "Hold up, Will Ferrell, you disappointed me. I don't know if I can even enjoy this anymore. I love this guy. You know, I love his comedy. It's funny, but how can you support Hillary? You know what she's done. Come on, guy. I know you read." Yep. So it becomes a thing where some of our icons, some of the people that we respect, like you say, they're going to have to make choices. I saw a clip. Did you run the Bill Maher? I don't know, because I know Bill Maher, they will put a lock on your video.
I don't run any of that shit. I don't run any of that video.
Well, Michael Eric Dyson and, was it Mike Ruffalo?
Mark Ruffalo?
That's it. They were on Bill Maher last night, and they said some harsh things about what they supported Hillary. Put it that way. They supported Hillary.
Mark Ruffalo?
What? Well, not Ruffalo. I'm sorry, not Ruffalo. He did not. He was the only one who really was like, hey, it was all about the super predator line. It was all about the Black Lives Matter intervention at the event that they paid to be at. And Bill Maher had very harsh things to say about Black Lives Matter, and it was and so did Michael Eric Dyson. They both did.
Bill Maher?
It was disappointing. In fact, he cursed them out. Yeah.
I thought he was a big burner. What the hell is wrong with him?
Cursed them out. Well, I guess he wants to separate Black Lives Matter from Bernie Sanders and just focus on them. Like, he didn't say anything about Bernie Sanders at all. He just said that, Black Lives Matter, they should be going after Trump. They should not go after Hillary. And
I disagree. I disagree 100%. What? I disagree. I'm just gonna say this, and I say this all the time, and there's lots of people. Okay, first of all, back up before I say this, because I got a couple of things to say about Obama. One, to the statement you made earlier, Tim, Obama for white people was the same way Clinton was for black people. We were like, oh, there's a black guy that likes us, that we can put in office, that we trust. Okay, I'll go for that. Okay, we got lied to too. So, you know,
I love it.
No, you guys had Bill playing the saxophone. We had Obama wearing a suit and tie. I don't know what the hell you call him. Whatever, trying to be in this. I don't know what he was, but I still have respect for Obama. I just know now that he's lied to me. Right? That's all. He's lied to all of us, and that's all I needed to know that he works for the establishment. And that's it. Right? Plain and simple. But I wanted to answer a few questions, folks. People telling me to go to KEYE TV. I am watching that station. They have not put anything up yet. They run a commercial, then give me color bars. I'm also watching Fox 29 San Antonio, and they keep telling me my stream is starting soon, and they are also lying to me because it's not. So as soon as I know that Austin is up, we will say goodbye in the newsroom, and we will start the other stream up and go from there, right? And Tim, the way this works, we just sit here. We don't change anything.
That's cool, man. That's
all
cool.
Right? And you can hang out with me for the Austin stream if you want, or whatever you want to do, man. So just to let everybody know, I am paying attention. We will be going there. What we're really doing here is kind of a weird, effed up newsroom, South Carolina rally, get out the vote thing, combined thing today. That's what we're doing. That has no plan. So on South Carolina, back to South Carolina. Do you know? Because I've been trying to get specifics from people. Last thing I heard, it looks like the polls close at 7 p.m. Eastern. Is that what it is? That's what it is. 7 p.m. Eastern. Okay. I'm going to be tracking a couple different sites that I found, and I just want to say this. I said this earlier to South Carolina, and you probably echo the same sentiment that, look, you are one of the states in southern states that has been disenfranchised and kind of forgotten, not only in this election process, but just throughout history. And we want to change that. Bernie Sanders wants to change that. We're all here together, the world. We got people in this production environment from Belgium and France and Germany and all sorts of places that are here for South Carolina today. So I just want to say that. Anything you want to it, Tim?
Oh well, man, that's yeah. I mean, I'm actually in Maryland.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it's the same thing, man. I feel the same way, John. I mean, I just want South Carolinians to know that you're not alone. Like that's the whole basis of what we're doing, man. Is we're all in this together. That's not just a tagline, man. That's actually how it is. That's how we feel. We want this country to be transformed into what it should have been, or what its greatest ideals. And frankly, man, the supporters of Bernie Sanders, to me, and I think if you get to know some of us, you'll find that we do hold those values high in the way that we conduct ourselves, the way we spread the message. But I just want people to know they're on the ground. If you're watching, if you're in South Carolina, man, just keep fighting, keep doing what you're doing. I got your back. John's got your back. You got a wealth of people online. You got a wealth of people in the field. You got volunteers all across the country. I get calls, just as John said, you got people from Belgium, different parts of the world. I get the same thing. I had a show last night. Had a man call me from Singapore. Bernie fan from Singapore.
Nice.
I had to clap it up, man. I remember standing for a little, like 30 seconds.
Okay, hang on, Tim. So we've been sitting here. This is how this shit works, folks. We've been sitting here watching, waiting for these two feeds to come through from Fox. I just got a feed from KXAN. Bernie's live right now on KXAN. All right. I have no idea how long into this we are here. Looks like 11 minutes or so. So I'm going to. Don't ask me why the other ones aren't running, folks. I am going to can this event. We're going to start up the other event, and we'll see you on that other link shortly. So join us. As soon as you see the event created, I'll be creating it. Go to Bernie2016.tv. Bernie2016.tv takes you to our YouTube channel where you'll find the next live event. But you'll see Tim and me, and we'll join you in on that right now. Bye.
you and I know that there is no rational economic reason for women to be earning less than men for doing the same work. That is nothing but just old-fashioned sexism. And I know that every man here today will stand with the women and fight for pay equity for women workers. And when we travel the country, we are listening to our African American brothers and sisters. And they are saying, how does it happen that in this country we have more people in jail than any other country on earth, largely African American, Latino, and Native American? They are asking, how does it happen that mothers are afraid to send their kids out on the street and are worried about police violence? And what we are saying together is that we will fight to end institutional racism. We are not going to allow the Trumps of the world to divide us up. And that we are going to bring major reforms to a broken, very broken criminal justice system. And as I travel around the country, we meet with a lot of Latinos. We are tired of living in the shadows. We are tired of living in fear. We want comprehensive immigration reform. And we want a path toward citizenship. And while there are some people in this country who may disagree about how we go forward with immigration reform, I would hope that every American would stand up against the xenophobia and against the racism that we are hearing. It is not acceptable to refer to Mexicans who come into this country as criminals, as rapists, as drug dealers. As a nation, we have come too far in fighting racism and bigotry. We will not allow that language to stand. Now is Jim Hart. Hightower told you our campaign does things a little bit differently than our opponent's campaign. And this is the major difference, and it's a profound difference. I'm here to tell you that no president, not Bernie Sanders, not anybody else, can do what has to be done for working people and the middle class all by himself. Can't happen. And I'll tell you why. And this is what no other presidential candidate will tell you. It's true, it's a painful truth, but we have to understand it. Right now, the people who control our country, who control our economy, who control our politics, people on Wall Street who have an endless supply of money, and I mean endless. Corporate America, whose greed has helped destroy the American middle class, who would shut down a factory here in Texas and move to China if they could make $5 more in doing it. The wealthy campaign donors who are spending hundreds of millions of dollars to try to buy this election, who have unbelievable power over the legislative direction of Congress, the corporate media, which determines what you see and what you don't see. All of these forces are enormously powerful. No president alone can take them on. What you all know is that American history is about understanding that real change in this country never comes from the top on down. It always comes from the bottom on up. What real change is about 120 years ago, workers who were treated like animals, organized, some of them were beaten, some of them were killed. They demonstrated, they fought back, and they said, you know what, we are human beings. You have got to treat us as workers with dignity. We are going to form unions and have collective bargaining. Organizing from the bottom on up. And the civil rights movement didn't happen from the top on down. It happened when millions of Americans, African Americans and their white allies said, you know what? In this great country, racism and segregation is not acceptable. And many of those heroes, with their names we don't know, people who were beaten, people who were killed, but they stood up and they fought back. And that's how we made change in civil rights in America. 100 years ago, people forget this. 100 years ago, women in America did not even have the right to vote. Women could not get accepted into various types of schools, could not do the jobs they wanted to do. But women, by the millions, stood up and they fought back. Some of them went on hunger strikes, some of them died, some of them were arrested. And women and their male allies said that in this country, women will not continue to be second-class citizens. And how change comes about is that if we were here just 10 years ago, not a long time from a historical perspective, and somebody jumped up and said, you know, I think in the year 2015, our gay brothers and sisters will have the right to marry. The person next to him would have said, what are you smoking? That's crazy. Which raises an entirely other issue. But now this is what real change is about. Because of the courage of the gay community and their straight allies, we have changed this country's views about gay marriage. You have a conservative Supreme Court that made gay marriage legal in 50 states. you go out and you ask some kid who's 15 years of age, what do you think about gay marriage? That kid will shrug his shoulders like, what are you talking about? What's the problem? That is what revolutionary change is about, is when we look out at the status quo and we say, this is not right, this is not working, this has got to change. Now, what this campaign is about when we talk about change is an understanding that for a start, we have, and it's important to acknowledge this, a corrupt campaign finance system which is undermining American democracy. And this is a big deal because the corrupt campaign finance system impacts all of our lives in every way that you can think. Now, one of the differences between Secretary Clinton and myself is she has a super PAC which is raising many millions of dollars from Wall Street, the drug companies, the fossil fuel industry. Now, every candidate, Democrat, Republican, in the history of the world, every candidate has always said, oh yes, I'm getting millions and millions of dollars from special interests, but they won't influence me. So we have a very simple question. Why are they giving you many millions of dollars? And the other simple question is, if you are going to give a speech to Goldman Sachs or other Wall Street institutions, and if you give that speech behind closed doors, why don't you make those transcripts public? Now, we have chosen to raise our campaign funds, and sadly, it requires a lot of money to run for president. But we have chosen to do it a very different way than Secretary Clinton. We have said, no, we don't represent Wall Street. We don't represent the billionaire class. We don't want their money. We are going to ask working families and the middle class to help us out. And an amazing thing has happened over the last 10 months, something that in a million years I never would have thought would have been possible. And that is, up to this point, we have received over 4 million individual contributions. That is more contributions than any candidate in the history of the United States at this point in a campaign has ever received. And the average contribution, and this is what is so enormously gratifying. Do you know what the average contribution is? This is a smart audience. That's why we're going to win. Now think about it. Think about it. What today's politics is about is candidates going to billionaire mansions and walking out with millions of dollars. We have our average contribution of $27. This is revolutionary. To paraphrase Abraham Lincoln at Gettysburg, this is a campaign of the people, by the people, and for the people. Now, Another difference. Another difference between Secretary Clinton and myself deals with an issue that is not very sexy. It's one that the media kind of doesn't talk about too much, but it is very important. When we ask ourselves, why is it that for the last 30, 40 years, the middle class of this country has been disappearing? All right, why is it that in Texas and in Vermont, you got people working 2 or 3 jobs trying to cobble together some income? One of the reasons is that since 2001, we have lost some 60,000 factories in America and millions of decent paying jobs. One of the major reasons that we have lost millions of good paying jobs in so many factories is disastrous trade policies. And I'm talking about NAFTA, CAFTA, permanent normal trade relations with China, and I'm talking about the proposed TPP. I want to tell you a story. I was elected to Congress in the House from Vermont in 1990, and shortly afterwards, I was already walking picket lines in opposition to NAFTA. I knew what NAFTA was about. And what NAFTA was about was telling American workers that they were going to have to compete against people who were making pennies an hour in Mexico and in other countries around the world. Now, everybody here wants to see low-income people in Mexico and countries around the world do better. We're going to fight to make that happen. But you don't have to destroy the American middle class to make that happen. When I went to Mexico in the early 1990s to see what was going on there, and what I saw in an area called the Maquiladora area. Thank you. I'm in Texas, I should have known that. Maquiladora. This is what I saw. Now, this is the early 1990s. What I saw were beautiful new factories from businesses in America and around the world. And then we went, these are state-of-the-art modern factories, and then we went to visit the workers who were working in those factories. I wish I could tell you that we visited them in their homes, but I couldn't, because they didn't have homes. Literally, they were living in cardboard shacks. In those days, they were making, probably it's gone up since, they were making 25 cents an hour. So one of the differences between Secretary Clinton and myself is when she was First Lady and President Clinton pushed us, she supported NAFTA, I opposed NAFTA. She supported permanent normal trade relations with China, which has cost us even more jobs than NAFTA. I have helped lead the opposition to these disastrous trade policies. And what I say today to corporate America, every night on TV in your 30-second ads, you tell us how much you want us to buy your products. If you want us to buy your products, you better start manufacturing those products here in the United States. Let me tell you another difference between Secretary Clinton and myself. And that is that the most important foreign policy decision made in this country in our modern history had to do with Iraq. I listened very closely to what President Bush had to say on Iraq when I was in the House. And I ended up concluding that he was not telling the truth and that invading Iraq would be a disaster. Go to my website, BernieSanders.com, find out what I said before the invasion. What happens the day after you get rid of this dictator, Saddam Hussein? What kind of political vacuum is created? Sadly, and it gives me no pleasure to tell you this, what I predicted would happen was largely right. Secretary Clinton voted for the war in Iraq. So there are very significant differences between us. In 1996, some of you may remember that there was a piece of homophobic legislation called the so-called Defense of Marriage Act. I am proud to tell you that I was one of the relatively few members of the Congress to vote against that homophobic legislation. Secretary Clinton supported that bad piece of legislation. Now, the reason that we are doing so well in this campaign is the American people know that there is something wrong in our country when the top 0.1% now own almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%. They know there is something wrong when we see a proliferation of millionaires and billionaires at the same time as we have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major country on earth. So you want a radical idea? We are going to create an economy that works for working families, not just the 1%. What else we are going to do is take on the greed and the recklessness and the illegal behavior of Wall Street. Wall Street's illegal behavior brought this country into the worst economic downturn since the 1930s. Millions of people lost their jobs, their homes, and their life savings. Today, 3 out of the 4 largest banks are bigger than they were when we bailed them out because they were too big to fail. Together, what we are going to do is break up these banks. And I'll tell you what else we are going to do. We are going to make public colleges and universities in this country tuition free. And we are going to pay for that by a tax on Wall Street speculation. When Wall Street's greed and illegal behavior destroyed this economy, Congress bailed them out. Now it is Wall Street's time to help the working families in this country. And let me tell you something else. And I know that many of the leaders here in Texas, your political leaders, may not agree. They are wrong, I'm right. I sit on the Senate Committee on the Environment and the Senate Committee on Energy. And here's the truth. I have talked to scientists all over this world. And despite what some of the Republicans may tell you, climate change is real. Climate change is caused by human activity, and it is already doing devastating harm in this country and around the world. You know, we are stewards of the earth. That's who we are. We have the moral responsibility to leave this planet in a way that is healthy and habitable for future generations. And that is why we have got to lead the world, working with China, Russia, India, other countries, in taking on the fossil fuel industry, transforming our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy. Now, I am a member of the committee that wrote the Affordable Care Act. It has done a lot of good in this country. But we have got to do better. We are the only major country on earth that does not guarantee health care to all people. 29 million have no health insurance, many more are underinsured, and we pay by far the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. In fact, the pharmaceutical industry is ripping off the people of this country in an unconscionable way. You want to hear crazy? Here's crazy. 1 out of 5 Americans who go to the doctor and get a prescription cannot afford to fill that prescription. That's crazy. So let me be very clear. My opponents disagree with me. Secretary Clinton disagrees with me. But let me say this. I believe that health care is a right of all people, not a privilege. And that is why I believe we have got to move toward a Medicare for all health care program. Many of my critics out there do not have a whole lot of faith in the American people. They are thinking in very, very small ways. They are saying, well, in America, we cannot pass a paid family and medical leave bill, despite the fact that every other country on earth does it. They are saying that we cannot guarantee health care to all of our people, despite the fact that every other major country on earth is doing it. They are saying that we cannot provide free tuition in public colleges and universities. They are saying that we cannot create millions of decent paying jobs by rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure, roads, bridges, and water systems. They are saying that we cannot reform a broken criminal justice system. They are saying we cannot lead the world in transforming our energy system and combating climate change. They are saying that the American people do not have the guts to stand up to the wealthy and the powerful and demand that they start paying their fair share of taxes. Now, I believe that we can do that. I believe that Donald Trump's idea of dividing us up is a horrific, un-American idea. I believe that not only can we win this Democratic nominating process, but we can defeat Trump and defeat him soundly. We will defeat Trump because the American people do not believe, as Trump does, that we should be giving hundreds of billions of dollars in tax breaks to the top 0.2%. We will defeat Trump because he is wrong when he says we should not raise the minimum wage above $7.25 an hour. We will defeat Trump because he is wrong when he says in a Republican debate, if you can believe it, that wages in America are too high. We will defeat Trump because he is wrong when he thinks that climate change is a hoax. It is not a hoax. It is a tragic reality. We will defeat Trump because the American people do not want a president who insults Mexicans, Muslims, who insults women and African Americans and veterans, and basically anybody who is not like Donald Trump. And thankfully, most Americans are not like Donald Trump. We will defeat Trump because our campaign is bringing people together, not dividing them. We will win because togetherness trumps divisiveness. Community trumps selfishness. And love trumps hate. There is a political revolution brewing in this country, and I can feel it right here in Austin today. But as Jim Hightower reminded us, a revolution is more than waving a sign or wearing a pin. A revolution is jumping headfirst into the political process. That means voting. That means bringing out our friends and neighbors. With your help, we can take a giant step forward in moving this political revolution. If we win here in Texas on Tuesday, with your help, we will. Thank you all very much.
That's Bernie Sanders, live in Austin, Texas. Oh, looks like we got somebody singing a song here. You can't pull that up here.
I saw a sign there, and on that sign it said, no trespassing. But on the other side, it didn't say nothing. Your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me. Nobody living can ever stop me as I go walking freedom's highway. Nobody living could ever tell. This land was made. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. And if you're searching for a different candidate than Bernie Sanders, he's the best man to get. And we will be strong, and we will be strong. This land was made for you and me. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, and the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. I love you, Bernie. Thank you so much for being so real and beautiful.
All right, everybody. That was Bernie Sanders live in Austin, Texas. I have no idea what the actual crowd was. Back here with me and Tim hanging out, and kind of whoa, wow, we got more than 530 people with us right now. Thank you for being with us. That's freaking awesome. 530 people. Bernie said a lot of things there at the end. Actually said a lot of things throughout that he's been upping his game. I think he's really been changing what he's saying, being more forceful, using more revolutionary terms, words like fight, what are you passionate for? What do you want in this country? He really has been making a call, and it's, at the beginning he said this is going to be a political revolution, and then now you hear him saying, like, I can feel it. It really is here. Like, I was trying to create it. Holy shit, it's here. What do you think, Tim?
I think the same thing, man. I love the fact that he's ratcheting it up when it comes to Clinton. You know what I mean? He's really taking the fight to her, and he needs to do that. Like we're in this thing, man, and you don't have to be negative, but you got to make those distinctions. And you know what? Sometimes being truthful, truth is negative when you talk about the Clintons, I believe.
Yes. When oh my gosh, that's such a good point. When she says Bernie Sanders was attacking us, like, no, the truth isn't an attack. It's just the truth. And when he says, when somebody comes up to you and says, you called children super predators, you said you need to bring them to heel. That's not an attack. Well, I mean, it is an attack. It's just an attack with the truth.
Exactly. That's all it is. And if you didn't do it, he wouldn't be able to say it. So refute the claims. Don't play victim, man. It's a lot of victim stuff going on, man. It's not working for you. Just go ahead and run your campaign and get out the way. The revolution's coming.
Well, and victim is the last thing on earth that anyone in the Clinton family really gets to play. Sorry, anybody in the establishment doesn't get to play victim to anything, really. I don't think they understand what that word means. You keep saying victim. I do not think you know what that word means.
You did very well for yourselves. It's the rest of us who didn't do so well, you know?
Right.
But I made a note here I want to talk about.
Yeah, please.
He's really hitting hard on the super PACs, man. He's really hitting her about that money. And I made a video about it because I said, you know what, that's the direction we need to take this. We need to talk about the money they get, and we need to tie that into what that really means. So when she casts the vote, when she's out here talking about the people that she's going to fight for, we need to remember all the money she's gotten from the healthcare industry, all the money she's gotten from Wall Street. So when he hits that, man, it's nothing but facts behind it. Nothing but facts. I'm so glad he took the time to say, you know what, I'm not going to take this super PAC money. We're not going to take money from these people. She can't make that claim. And you know what, John? It's not his fault she's running against a candidate who has ethics.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? She wants credit. She wants to blame Republicans. He's not running against them right now.
Right.
You know, so.
Right. Although, I will say this. We are hearing more and more him talking about how he would run against Republicans, right? How we're going to defeat Donald Trump. He said that was very loud and clear in this last one. He'd been talking about Hillary a lot. Differences with Hillary. I think he's kind of, I'm not saying he's moving on at all because he still has to do that battle. Today, he said a lot about, here's how we're going to defeat Trump, right? We already know we've got Hillary done. Let's talk about the bigger problem, which is this guy one second. I'm on your channel. By the way, folks, in the description, or maybe not in this description, I'll get it in the description. Description of the newsroom this morning are all the links, including the link to Tim Black's channel, because we use a lot of his material. So go there, subscribe to Tim Black's channel, because that's the most easy thing you can do to help Tim Black, okay? That's what we ask of everybody, right? As far as money, giving money is what you guys choose to do on your own, and we don't promote one way or the other. But subscribe to the channel, because that's definitely the first thing you need to do. But Tim, are we looking at this, why Hillary Clinton's transcripts are so important? Is that the one you want me to run? Or you guys
Yes, sir. That's about Wall Street. Get it in there if you can, Jay.
Okay, let's run it. Let me just pull it up right now. You wanna? Did you preface it already, or do you want to say anything more about it?
I think, well, in this video, what I'm going to talk about, I think I lay it out pretty well, but it talks about Wall Street, and it breaks it down in a very basic level, why it's so important that we know about those transcripts.
All right, here we go. Tim Black on Wall Street, everybody.
Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Tim Black. I gotta talk to you, South Carolina. I gotta talk to you, Alabama, Georgia, Arkansas, Colorado, everybody. Listen, you're gonna hear a lot of stuff. You heard a lot of stuff about Hillary Clinton's transcripts, her speech transcripts, speeches that she gave to Wall Street, right? And some people are thinking, they're like Tim is saying, man, why do we care? They're saying, Tim, why are y'all in this woman's business? Let me tell you why. We're in her business because Wall Street, they shot up our block. That's right. They shot up they are a gang, and they shot up our block, our world. They shot up the country. They shot up our block. See, Hillary Clinton wants us to believe that when they paid her to go talk to them, it was because she was telling them how bad they were. And I'm trying to tell you that if I lived on your block and I was the leader of your block and some gang shot up the block and I went to talk to them, you'd be like, what are you doing talking to these people? Don't you see what they did to the block? Don't you see the lives they ruined? And then when I told you, well, hey, I just was speaking on your behalf. But then I told you they gave me $675,000 to talk to them on 3 different occasions. So one time they paid me $200,000, and what I said was so tough and mean to them and harsh, because I was standing up for you, they invited me back a couple more times and paid me some more money, to a total of $675,000. If I came back And I told you that. Would you be like listening to me? Would you want to know what was really said? Would you trust that I told them how bad they were, or would you want proof? I mean, since I want to be a person respected on the block, and I want you to still consider me as a leader of the block. That's enough, right? Like you get what I'm saying. That's why we want to know about the transcripts. But it's not only that. That's enough though, right? Here's the other thing. Not only did they give me $675,000 to talk to them about how bad they were, they gave me another $2.5 million for my campaign. And I want you to believe South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Colorado, all of it, that they did that just because they like me. Listen, it's not, we want to know what she said, not because we're nosy. We want to know because we don't want a president who is friends with the people that shot up our block. And it's that simple.
Boom.
Yeah. I think the whole point of that video, John, was to try to break down in layman's terms to the average person who doesn't watch politics often to truly understand why it's important. I think some people don't. There's a disconnection between the PAC money, the Wall Street speeches. Like, what's the importance? And since Bernie talks about it so often, I said, you know what? Let's take a step back. Let me tell average folks who are just busy taking care of the kids, busy working, busy doing what? Going to soccer training, taking the kids to running errands. Let me give them an explanation of why it's so important that we know about these transcripts so they can put it in context. We got to do that for people. Average people, they don't watch this stuff all the time. They got other things going on. So that's the whole idea behind that video.
Well, absolutely, and they don't get to see this stuff anyway because establishment media doesn't talk about it. Right? I mean, are they pushing the transcripts? No. Yesterday, I don't know if you're if you were on. I know you're on Twitter. You're always on Twitter. You know what happened. Witch Hillary was scrubbed from the web. We had a book burning. A digital book burning in America. The executive of Twitter said, well, I'm doing a fundraiser for Hillary Sunday, so I need to make sure that I rip this social statement off of my newspapers. Basically, he's the owner of the newspaper, and he said, I want every article about Witch Hillary gone from my newspaper. We're going to censor the shit out of my newspaper. Right? That's what we're fighting, folks. When you talk about the ties, that's direct ties right there. That's a media organization. Twitter is a media organization. You can't look at it. Those who separate, the internet from television or broadcast, or traditional old school one-way broadcasting, right? The only people that really separate that anymore, right, Tim, are establishment folks anyway. Right?
That's right, man. That's right. People need to see the power that they have and that there are people who want to take that power away from you. Frankly, that's the whole deal. Like, that's why, look, John, I want people to know, and I said this on my show last night, listen, when you meet someone and they're a Hillary Clinton fan, it's not just because they're a bad person. They could be the best, nicest, sweetest, most loving, most careful, empathetic person you'll ever meet. The problem is this. They've been bombarded, pummeled with media lies, media trickery. You have to look at them in that light as well. You can't just look at them and say, this person has all these facts and knows these things. Why do they think this way? Right. They have been, it's strategic, it's systematic, it's deliberate. They've been fed this false narrative. And it's our job to educate them, right? Because that's the media's job. They're perpetuating themselves. They're going to make more money. They'll make more money off a Clinton presidency than they will off a Bernie Sanders presidency.
Oh, yeah. Because of not only that. I mean, so yeah, money. I mean, you're absolutely right there. Money is one thing. But what they're more concerned about is their way of life, right? I mean, their way of life gets changed drastically with this. You know, I mean, no longer is it. And you've heard the Joe Scarborough, Mika Nikinsky, whatever her name is, backseat conversation with Donald Trump, right?
Yeah, I heard that.
Just make me look good. Just make me look good, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And Joe Scarborough's exactly. I mean, there's no integrity there, folks. Certainly, hi, you're on our show. We're the propaganda machine. We're no different than Hitler's propaganda machine. Okay, we're just. I mean, when I say this, folks, seriously, our government, and I'm going to make this statement. Our government, while we haven't murdered 6 million Jews outright, we've murdered millions of people around the world for our own gain, for our own resources. Lied about it directly to the world, right? We've done these things. We've lied about it directly to the world. We've murdered people around the world. We do this and claim to be great, claim to be doing it for the good, for what? For freedom. We use the word freedom. I just want to remind everybody that over the German concentration camp in Auschwitz, the sign read, Arbeit macht frei. Work makes you free. There is no difference between what we are doing, what our government, establishment government is doing today to us. We're not sitting in concentration camps. We're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week for shit pay, with no benefits, with no protection from our government. They spend the vast majority of our funds on whatever the fuck they want. The military, their own gain, their own companies, their own corrupt organizations, the propaganda machine. The propaganda, I believe it was Goering was the propagandist of the Hitler regime. Hermann Goering, I can't remember their names, these horrible human beings. But today we have 6 media corporations. And CNN, MSNBC, ABC, Fox, they all lie for the establishment. They all perpetuate the myth that our establishment government is righteous and true and good, when in reality it is no different today than Nazi Germany was, I don't know, I'm going to go about 1939. We're right there, folks. Right there.
Exactly. And you know what? It's sad. For instance, I heard that Melissa Harris Perry, I think she resigned. I think that's what that is she's doing.
Yeah.
Fighting. I don't know. Here's the thing, John. I don't feel sorry for her, Jay. No, I don't. I know a lot of people feel sorry for her. I don't feel sorry for her because she has the ability. She has name recognition. She can start a channel tomorrow, be independent, unshackle herself immediately, and do what we're doing.
Yep.
Instead of begging to get a voice on their platform. Do it yourself. John's doing it. I'm doing it.
Yep.
We gotta. There you go. Exactly. That's what you got to do. At some point, you got to say, you know what? Like John, you define establishment. Let's put it in even a simpler term. Try this. The thing that's already built. The establishment is the thing that's established, that's already built. That's the thing we are trying to disrupt. If you had a house built, would you want me coming in, messing with the foundation of your house? No.
Right.
Would you want, you know what I'm saying? You're like, hey, what are you doing? Man, get these people away from my house. We're trying to shake the foundation of the house that's built here in our media, in our country. What the alternative is? Building our own. Let's build our own across the street. And that's why they keep shutting John down every time he puts a channel out, because he's building his own establishment. He's building his own foundation. That's why we got to support John. We got to support Bernie 2016 TV. We got to support Melissa Harris Perry. We got to support Ed Schultz. Support me too. But there's a lot of people doing the same thing, and that's the value. That's the power. So when I talk to people, and I'm going to do a video later tonight, John, after South Carolina, in regards to what happens, to tell people, remember, we are fighting a battle, like you say, John, a revolution. It has casualties. There's a price to pay. It ain't going to be easy. This is what you're up against. We're doing it. Don't get discouraged, but recognize that what we're doing is, it's amazing, right?
Yes.
We're fighting. We're here trying to redecorate the world.
We are doing that. Well, and we've never had to fight something this big before. The machine we're fighting is bigger and more powerful than Nazi Germany, folks. It's more powerful than Nazi Germany at the height of its power, because it's America. And we have the largest military in the world. We have the largest resources in the world. We have our fingers in every pie around the world. And it's supported, our thug establishment is supported by thug corporations and other thug governments around the world. But we have the people. We have the people around the world. The people that are tired of this shit. The people that want to make change. Tim, I'm looking forward to your video. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm hoping that maybe later today, if we have this other event, that you can join us. And, glad you were with us this morning. That was easy. You're welcome any day in the newsroom, man. Any day.
Hey, look, man. Thank you to your viewers. Thank you once again, John, Jesse, Erg. Thank you all for having me on, man. I just want to say, guys, just remember, only in a crazy, crazy alternate universe where the country that spends over $600 billion a year on military tell you you are lazy because you want $10 billion spent on education. I'm Tim Black. Talk to you.
Thank you, Tim. That's so perfect. Exactly. There's so much. I think we all feel the same way, folks. We see the logic. We go, look, Bernie makes sense. It's just, we all have to wake up. And I'm not blasting anybody, because I was indoctrinated too. Okay, I was blind too. Okay, I've been blind really to what the establishment is doing, to what they are, all my life. I've just been a Democrat. Okay, well, there are no Democrats anymore. We have a social democrat named Bernie Sanders, and we have a whole bunch of conservative establishment individuals. It's really what we have. We have the people versus the establishment. It's the end. Bernie Sanders said it today. He said, I can feel the revolution right here. I can feel it in Austin. Everywhere he goes, we can feel that revolution. We are the revolution. We are the media. We are the revolution. We are the workforce that's going to rebuild America. We are the workforce that's going to vote Bernie Sanders into office. We are the workforce that does America. We've got a bunch of lazy people at the top been lying to us for a long time. And it's time for a reckoning. This is the end of the corporate age, folks. You know the song. It literally has become my next to Killer Mike Reagan. This is my favorite song, because Killer Mike Reagan defines the past. It defines what the past was. This defines our future. Feel the burn, everybody.
Wealthiest people in this country have seen a tremendous increase in their income, while at the same time the standard of living of working people and poor people has declined. CEOs make more than 500 times of what their workers make. The middle class is shrinking. Poverty is increasing, while at the same time the people on top are doing phenomenally well.
People always tell me that you're wasting your time. Can't you see the monolith isn't moving? Yes, I tell them kindly, still I made up my mind. Cause the sky above as big and limitless as it ever was. Down where it's the end of the doorway. You got me on the center where this is the end of the doorway. All the blue creators keep on spreading the me that There's only so much room at the table. Telling us we're lucky to be eating the strong. We've got all the facts, and we're taking our places back. Billionaires shouldn't be allowed to hide in the shadows. They must step out in the open where the American people can see. Around people walking on the town square, it's the end of the road.
We are well on our way to seeing our great country move toward an oligarchic form of government. Corporate America, Wall Street, the major campaign donors are so powerful that no president can take them on unless tens of millions of people say, guess what, Washington? You are going to start representing the needs of working families and the middle class, not just the billionaire class. We know what's going on in the town square, in the Number two, Jared Triple, the worst three-pointer ever attempted in NBA history. He's got 30, now like you got. Come on, you better than that, Jared. Short. Oh, he's up and back out. They got a foul, not a foul. Number three, Lance Stevenson. I call this garbage with the Blackhawks. Did we really make that trade? Anybody else on this team wearing a white shirt?
It was late. He almost made it.
The saying goes, if you can't beat it, throw the ball at their face. I like Mike Malone. Beautiful. The worst three-pointer ever attempted in NBA history. This must hurt. He's an LSU guy. Yeah, it does. Come on, we taught you better than that. One access point. Wait, he's dancing, y'all. He's dancing. He's dancing, y'all. He's dancing, y'all. He's dancing, y'all. He's dancing. He's dancing, y'all. He's 25. That is the new record.
Yeah. Peace.